Hello everyone, so I'm here today to do another video for my Read Around the World project, and this time I'm going to focus on Central Africa. So that includes Cameroon, Central African Republic, Equatorial Guinea, Sao Tome and Principe, Gabon, Republic of Congo, and Democratic Republic of Congo. So I haven't read many books from any of these places, but I have at least read one, so I just want to talk about those. For Cameroon, I read How Beautiful We Were by Imbolo Mbue, and this was very interesting. I really enjoyed this one. So this is about a village in Cameroon in which they have found oil, and so an American company comes to exploit that oil, and how that has repercussions on the population, and the water is contaminated, and there are a lot of children born after that have a lot of issues, health issues, and it's told in different perspectives throughout the book, and one of the perspectives is like a chorus of voices of the children of that village and how they were affected by this company. And then the other voice that we go through, it's different generations of the ruling family in this village, and we see how they try to avoid it, how they try to fight it. We see how it affects the relationships between each other, and obviously the health of all of the children, and also how the company reacts to all of these things. And I think it was very powerful, and I think it was really well constructed and really well told. So I really recommend this book. I think it's a really good introduction to Cameroonian literature. Then the next country I read for was Central African Republic, and I read La Patience du Baobab by Adrienne Yabouza. And this was basically a love story. It was very beautifully told, and it was also there was different things going in between, like religious beliefs and children, no children, that kind of thing. But at the heart, it was just a very heartwarming love story, and I enjoyed it for that. And again, I read this in French, but I could already see that it was very beautifully written. So yeah, I enjoyed this one. I'm not sure if it will stand up to me in the course of time, but as an experience, I enjoyed it. Then for Equatorial Guinea, I read La Bastarda by Trifonia Melba Obono, and this I read about a year ago for Invisible Cities, and this is a book about a young girl that is part of the LGBTQ community in a small village, and she's kind of orphan, not really, but she lives with, I think it was her grandma or her aunt or something like that, because I think her mom died and her dad is always out, something like that. But she was alone, and she was struggling because she was not accepted in the community as an LGBTQ person. And it follows her coming of age, struggling with both of these things, and and also some cultural and like folklore things that are introduced into the book as well. I enjoyed it. I think that it was something I never read before and I never expected, but it was good. I think it was good. But again, it's not something that is staying in my mind like very freshly. So it's one good book to read for Equatorial Guinea, but it's not the only one, let's say. Then for Sao Tome y Principe, I found really difficult to find something that was translated from here. There's not a lot of things that coming from Sao Tome y Principe to English or Spanish or anything. So I read a book of short stories in Portuguese. Now I do not speak Portuguese, but I do speak Spanish, and written Portuguese is close enough to written Spanish that I can understand most of it, and I could get the flow of the language. And again, it was a short story collection that was about 100 pages, and I mean, one every 3 or 4 pages was an image, a painting. So it was okay for me to read it, and I think the writing was very beautiful. At least as far as I could tell, obviously, a Portuguese person will be more fit to tell that. But for me, it felt like it was nicely written. Every story was 3-4 pages, and they were easy enough to follow for me, and the paintings also added that extra something that I really enjoyed. And the stories often were around folkloric beliefs of Sao Tome y Principe. So there was something about this, I think it was this bird that lived in one of the islands and not on the other. Things like that explain a little bit more of the culture of the place. But personally, I'm not into short stories that much, so this is not something that I will treasure forever. But again, I'm happy that I read it, because I did learn something about Sao Tome y Principe, and it was really difficult to find anything. So I'm glad I found something. I read it and I enjoyed it enough. I learned things. That's kind of the point of this project. For Gabon, I read The Fury and Cries of Women by Angele Rawiri, and this was very interesting. It stayed with me, and it's a little bit more on the tone that I would expect from things that I'm used to. Not that that's a criteria that is needed, but it made it easier for me to read. So this is about a couple, and at the beginning of the book we meet them that they just want to get married, and both of their families are against it because they are from different tribes and they don't get along. They do it anyway, and then we meet them 15 years later or so, and they're struggling with having a family. So they do have a daughter, but the wife has had several miscarriages, and he has distanced himself from the family, so he has several mistresses, and he spends oftentimes nights away from the family. So it's kind of a state of breaking everything, and then the daughter dies. The daughter is about 13 and she dies, so then more problems come to the couple, and it is a constant discussion of trying to fix the marriage or trying to divorce, or what the family's pressure around for, and then the wife of the couple, Emilienne, she develops feelings for another woman, so they develop a relationship as well. So both of them have mistresses, and she's, at the same time as this is happening, she's trying to go to all kinds of doctors to fix the fact that she cannot have children, apparently, because she miscarriages every time she's pregnant. And there is all these pressures from society about having children, and all of these pressures of society about divorcing or not divorcing. And I've noticed in African stories and in Africa in general, when I've visited, mistresses seems to have less of an impact in a relationship. Like, a lot of men have mistresses and it's known, and they still have their wives, whereas here, probably if someone finds out their partner has a mistress, they will be a lot faster to break the relationship up. So that dynamics is very interesting, and I think that the mother-in-law in particular of this woman, which is who we tell the story from, this woman is very pushy about the divorce and about him needing a heir, and it's more important than this woman that he married that is from another tribe, and he shouldn't have never married, and all of those things. And there is also the economical situation, because Emilienne, the woman, makes more money than the man for a lot of their relationship, and that seems to be a really big point of content for them as well, because he doesn't like that. So there are all these dynamics, and I found it very interesting to see all the dynamics going on. I would have to say, though, that the writing was not my favorite. It's very detached and it's very pretentious almost. Like, yeah, the way they talk is so formal and so unnatural. So for me, that didn't work so well, but the story was quite interesting. And then for the Republic of Congo, I read Black Moses by Alain Mabankou, and I have a full review of this one, so I will link the video down below. This one is kind of the opposite. The writing was great, like the sentence level writing. The storytelling was not great. So it's about kind of a boy that he tries to advance himself in society in terms of religion and politics, and yeah, the way that it's written, like the way that the story goes, is just so confusing and so all over the place. It's not working. The sentence to sentence level, again, it's very good, and I know that Alain Mabankou is a very well-regarded author, so maybe I need to try something else by him. But Black Moses just didn't work for me. I think that, yeah, that the story was just not very well constructed, and I don't know if that's for all of his books or if it was just this particular one. And then the last one that I read is Tram 83 by Fiston, Mwanza, Mujila, and this is so I read this a really long time ago, so I don't remember too much of it, but this is basically set around a club in Republic of DRC. I think it's in Kinshasa, but I might be wrong. Maybe it's never said. But yeah, Tram 83 is a club, and we have these two friends that are there. One of them is a writer, and we kind of see what's going on in the club and like all of the different people around, and how greedy the society as a whole is, and how much about power and money everything is. That's kind of the idea of the book, but again, I don't remember the specifics of things because I read it a really long time ago. But yeah, it was good. I don't remember too much of it, so it's probably not like great, but it's good. And yeah, those are all the books that I read for the central part of Africa. Let me know if you have read any of these. If you have any more recommendations, I would love to hear. And until next video, bye!